The day my sister got engaged, she called me before anyone else. "Lena, you're the first person I'm telling," she said, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Marcus proposed." I remember smiling so wide my cheeks hurt. Finally, I laughed. I thought he'd never get the nerve. Emma had always been the dreamer between the two of us. Growing up, she planned weddings the way other kids planned birthday parties, magazines spread across her bedroom floor, notebooks full of dress sketches and venue ideas. She wanted something magical, something unforgettable. And when Marcus came along, she believed she'd finally get it. At the time, I didn't know that dream would eventually cost me $75,000 and one of the most painful moments of my life. A week after the engagement, Emma came over to my house with a binder. Not a small one. A massive 3-ring binder filled with tabs, color-coded pages, and printed photos. I should have realized then that things were about to get expensive. "Okay," she said, dropping it on my kitchen table. "Don't panic." "That sentence always makes people panic," I replied. She laughed nervously. "Marcus's parents can't help financially," she said. "And Mom and Dad, well, you know." I did know. Our parents had retired early and lived comfortably but modestly. A big wedding wasn't something they could afford. Emma bit her lip. "I hate asking this," she said softly, "but you've always been the successful one." I owned a small marketing agency that had done very well in the last few years. I wasn't a millionaire, but I was comfortable. Still, weddings weren't cheap. "How much are we talking about?" I asked carefully. She turned the binder toward me. $75,000. I nearly choked on my coffee. "Emma." I know," she said quickly. "It sounds insane, but it's the venue, the catering, the photographer, the band, everything." I stared at the pages. Elegant vineyard venue. Designer dress. Hundreds of guests. It was beautiful. It was also more than I had spent on my car. "I'll pay you back eventually," she added quickly. But I knew she wouldn't. Emma had never been good with money. Still, she was my little sister. And when she looked at me with those hopeful eyes, I felt my resistance melt. "You've been dreaming about this since you were 12, I sighed. Her eyes widened. "Does that mean—" "I'll help," I said. She launched across the table and hugged me so hard I almost fell out of my chair. "You're the best sister in the world." At that moment, I believed her. The next 6 months were a blur of planning. Venues, dress fittings, tastings, guest lists, and bills. So many bills. Every time Emma called, there was another expense. The florist says peonies are out of season. The photographer charges extra for drone footage. The band wants a bigger stage. Each time I swallowed the cost and paid it. Marcus always thanked me politely, but he mostly stayed out of the planning. "This is Emma's dream," he'd say. And Emma's dream was getting bigger by the week. Still, I didn't regret helping. Emma had always been there for me when life got hard, when my divorce fell apart 3 years earlier, when I suddenly became a single mother to my son Oliver. Oliver was 5 now. Sweet, energetic, and sometimes a little chaotic. But he was my whole world. Emma adored him too. Or at least she used to. About a month before the wedding, something shifted. Emma started sounding tense. "Oliver will behave during the ceremony, right?" she asked one afternoon. "Of course," I said. "He's 5, not a hurricane." "Well, kids can be unpredictable." "He'll sit with Mom and Dad," I reassured her, "and if he gets restless, I'll step outside with him." She hesitated. "I just want everything to be perfect." I brushed off the comment. "Wedding stress," I told myself. Nothing more. The wedding day arrived on a bright Saturday afternoon. The venue was stunning. A sprawling vineyard with white roses lining the aisle and a view of rolling green hills in the distance. It looked like something out of a movie. Guests arrived dressed in elegant suits and flowing dresses. Music drifted through the air. For a moment, I felt proud. I had helped make this happen. Oliver clutched my hand as we walked toward the entrance. "Mom," he whispered, staring at the flowers, "this place looks like a castle." "It kind of does," I smiled. We approached the main gate where 2 security guards stood. That wasn't unusual. Expensive weddings sometimes had security. But as we got closer, one of the guards stepped forward. "Ma'am, may I speak with you?" I nodded, confused. He pulled out a clipboard. And then I saw it. A printed photo. Of Oliver. My stomach dropped. "Where did you get that?" I asked slowly. The guard looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, ma'am, we were given instructions." "What instructions?" He cleared his throat. "The child in this photo is not permitted inside the event." I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" He pointed again. "This child is listed as a potential disruption. We were told to prevent entry for security reasons." For a moment, the world felt like it had tilted sideways. "You're telling me my 5-year-old son is a security risk?" "I'm just following instructions." "Who gave you those instructions?" The guard hesitated. "The bride." My chest tightened. "Emma." I felt heat rush to my face. "This has to be a mistake," I said. "I'm Lena, I paid for this wedding." The guard shifted awkwardly. "I understand, ma'am, but my instructions were very clear." Oliver squeezed my hand. "Mom, did I do something wrong?" His small voice shattered something inside me. "No, sweetheart," I said quickly, kneeling beside him. "You didn't do anything wrong." Behind us, guests were beginning to notice the commotion. Whispers started spreading. I stood up. "Call my sister," I told the guard. A few minutes later, Emma appeared at the gate. She looked stunning in her white dress, veil flowing behind her. But when she saw Oliver, her expression tightened. "Emma," I said slowly, "what is this?" She crossed her arms. "I told the coordinator to handle it quietly." "Handle what?" "Oliver," she said bluntly. My jaw dropped. "You had security block my son." "It's my wedding," she said defensively. "I can't have chaos." "He's 5. And last Thanksgiving he knocked over the dessert table." "That was an accident." "I'm not taking risks today," she snapped. Guests nearby had fallen completely silent now. "Emma," I said carefully, trying to stay calm, "I paid $75,000 for this wedding." She rolled her eyes. "And I thanked you, but that doesn't mean you get to ruin my day." "Oliver would never ruin anything." "You don't know that." Her words hit like a slap. Oliver was staring at the ground, tears forming in his eyes. My heart broke. "I thought you loved him," I whispered. Emma sighed. "I do, just not today." Something inside me went very still. I looked around. The flowers. The band setting up. The hundreds of guests enjoying champagne. All of it paid for with my money. And my sister couldn't even let my child walk through the door. "Emma," I said quietly, "do you know what hurts the most?" She frowned. "You didn't even tell me beforehand." "I knew you overreact." "You had a guard show me my own child's photo like he was on a wanted poster." "Well, maybe if you controlled him better." That was it. I pulled out my phone. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Fixing the problem." I dialed a number. "Hi, this is Lena Carter," I said when the man answered. "I need to cancel today's payment authorization for the Whitmore wedding." Emma's face drained of color. "You can't do that." "Actually," I said calmly, "I can. The final payment hasn't processed yet." Her voice rose in panic. "Lena, don't you dare." But the venue manager was already confirming. "Yes, Ms. Carter, the remaining balance of $42,000 hasn't cleared yet. Would you like us to pause it?" "Yes," I said, immediately. Emma grabbed my arm. "Are you insane? The wedding starts in 30 minutes. "I know. You'll ruin everything." I looked down at Oliver, who was still clutching my hand. "You already did that." Chaos erupted within minutes. The wedding coordinator rushed over. The venue manager followed. Without the final payment, several vendors refused to continue. The band stopped setting up. The catering manager began making frantic calls. Guests whispered loudly. Emma's perfect day was unraveling in real time. "This is your fault," she screamed at me. "No," I said quietly, "it's yours." Marcus appeared beside her, looking confused. "What's going on?" Emma pointed at me furiously. "She's sabotaging the wedding." Marcus turned to me. "Lena." I met his eyes. She had security ban my 5-year-old son from entering. His expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. "Emma, is that true?" She hesitated. It was just a precaution. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. You called a child a security risk. He's disruptive. He's family. Silence fell again. Marcus looked at Oliver. Then back at Emma. You owe your sister an apology. Emma's face hardened. I'm not apologizing. Marcus sighed deeply. For a long moment nobody spoke. Finally he turned to me. I'm sorry, Lena, he said quietly. Then he looked at Emma. If Oliver can't come in, I'm not walking down that aisle either. Emma stared at him in shock. You're choosing them over me. I'm choosing common sense. 10 minutes later, Emma finally broke. Tears streaked down her makeup. Fine, she snapped, he can come. The guard stepped aside. Oliver looked up at me. Does that mean I can see the castle? I smiled softly. Yes, sweetheart. We walked through the gate together. Behind us, Emma stood trembling with fury. But the wedding went on. Not perfectly. Not magically. But it happened. And Emma never again called my son a security risk. A week later, she sent me a text. 3 simple words. I'm sorry, Lena. It wasn't much. But it was a start.